All right, today we're cracking open the work of a 17th century genius, John Donne. And let me tell you, this isn't your average sleepy poetry. This is verse that's going to make you think hard. It's as much a workout for your brain as it is for your heart.
So let's just dive right in with a question that sounds, well, kind of nuts. How on earth can a tiny, blood-sucking insect become a key part of a convincing argument for love? I mean, it sounds totally bizarre, right? But the answer to this is what makes this kind of poetry so mind-blowingly cool.
You see, to get the flea, you first have to get the style it comes from, metaphysical poetry. Now, these guys in 17th century England weren't part of some official club, but they all had this wild idea to take raw, powerful emotions and just slam them together with razor-sharp logic. And the main tool in their toolkit is something called the metaphysical conceit. Now, I want you to forget about simple metaphors like, my love is like a red, red rose. A conceit takes two things that seem to have absolutely nothing in common, like two lovers and a drawing compass, or the human soul and a drop of dew, and then, through sheer force of a logical argument, it proves they're connected. It's pure passion, but filtered through an incredibly powerful intellect.
So, what should you be looking for? Well, first, you've got these far-fetched comparisons that at first glance seem almost ridiculous. Then the poet builds this incredibly analytical case, almost like a lawyer arguing in court. The poems are just packed with paradoxes and clever double meanings, all of it wrapped up in this display of pure brainpower. It's the kind of thing that's designed to make you stop, scratch your head, and then go, whoa, I never would have thought of that, but you know what? It actually works. Okay, so that brings us to the undisputed champion, the pioneer of this whole style, John Donne. He didn't just write this stuff. For all intents and purposes, he invented it. He sparked a revolution that completely changed what a poem was even capable of doing. In fact, the poet John Dryden, who came a bit later, was the one who first pinned the label on him. He said that Donne affects the metaphysics, which is a fancy way of saying he deliberately weaves these big, complex, philosophical ideas into his poems about love and life. And right away, people knew this was something totally new.
And really, to get his poetry, you gotta get his life. Donne's whole existence was a story of intense contradictions. He was born Catholic when that was a dangerous thing to be, had this wild, passionate youth. He even blew up his career by secretly marrying for love. But then, he did a complete 180, converted, and became one of the most famous and respected priests in England. That constant tug-of-war between the physical world and the spiritual one, that's the engine that drives every line he wrote.
So what does all that mean for his actual writing? Well, for one, he basically took the old poetry rulebook and just tossed it out the window. Instead of the same old tired images of stars and flowers, he grabbed ideas from all the exciting stuff happening around him, from new scientific discoveries, from map-making, from the courtroom. He explored love as both a messy physical thing and a transcendent spiritual connection. And he did it all with language that felt real, direct, almost like an argument, bursting with this incredible mix of passion and logic. Okay, time to bring it all back to that flea we started with. Let's see how this all works in practice. We're going to do a quick case study of one of Donne's most famous and, frankly, most audacious poems, The Flea. This is the metaphysical conceit in all its glory. The poem kicks off with our speaker trying to convince a woman to sleep with him. He points to a flea and says, "Hey, look at this little bug. Just look at it, and you'll realize that the thing you're refusing me is actually no big deal." What a line. It's so bold it's almost funny. So what's his big argument? It's this fantastic little three-step piece of logic. So step one is the observation. This flea has bitten both of us, and now our blood is mixed together inside its body. Okay, step two, the conclusion. Because our blood is mixed in the flea, we're already physically united. It's practically a marriage, and it happened without any sin or shame. But then, plot twist, she kills the flea. He's not done though. He pivots to step three, the rebuttal. He says, see, the flea died, a tiny bit of your blood was lost, and you lost 0 honor, so you'll lose just as little honor if you give in to me. It's just so witty, so outrageous. It's pure intellectual gymnastics.
Now, let's see how that exact same logical, argumentative style can be used for something completely different. Not for seduction, but for taking on one of the biggest fears we all have. We're about to shift from the witty and worldly to the profound and spiritual, just to show you the incredible range this guy had. The poem starts with this just unbelievable act of defiance. The speaker is talking directly to death, like it's a person standing right there, and he tells it, hey, Get over yourself. You're not as mighty and dreadful as everyone says you are. Right from the first line, he's basically putting death itself on trial.
And he uses that same step-by-step logic we saw with the Flea. First, the accusation. Death isn't some terrifying monster, it's just a long nap, and sleep feels good. Second, the demotion. Death isn't some all-powerful king, it's a slave. It has to do what fate, accidents, kings, and even desperate men tell it to do. He even scoffs that drugs can give us a better rest than death can. But the final judgment, that's the real masterstroke. Drawing on his Christian faith, he concludes that after the resurrection, there will be nobody left for death to take, and therefore, death, thou shalt die. He literally uses logic to dismantle fear itself.
So why? Why are we still talking about a poet from 400 years ago? What is it about this dense, intellectual, sometimes difficult poetry that makes it stick around? Well, it's because he completely changed the game.
Just look at the difference. The poetry that came before Donne, the Elizabethan style, was lovely. It was smooth, musical, and used images everyone was familiar with. But Donne's metaphysical style, it was rugged, it was argumentative, it was kind of jarring. It didn't just wash over you. It forced you to lean in, to use your brain, and to follow these incredible arguments sparked by the weirdest images imaginable.
And his influence? It's huge. Centuries later, you have modern poets like the great T.S. Eliot looking all the way back to Donne for inspiration. Eliot saw how Donne fused thought and feeling together, and he realized that was the way to write about our complex, messy, modern world. Donne gave poets a blueprint for how to be intensely passionate and fiercely intelligent all at the same time.
And that, really, is the whole point. John Donne's legacy isn't just a handful of clever poems. It's the powerful, revolutionary idea that your heart and your head aren't enemies. He proved that you can explore your deepest, most powerful feelings, love, faith, fear, with the same focus and rigor as a scientist or a lawyer, and then in doing so, you actually make those feelings even more profound.
Which brings us to a final thought for you. Donne connected a flea to love. He connected sleep to death. So, if you had to make your own metaphysical conceit, right now, what two totally unlikely things would you connect to try and explain a powerful emotion? That's a puzzle worthy of the master himself.